Welcome back to Wonder with Will. I'm Will, and instead of wandering through the outdoors, what we're going to do is wonder about lighting while in the outdoors. Now, before I say anything else, you should know that I am not sponsored by any of the companies or the products that I'm going to talk to you about. Also, if you decide to order from some of the links down in my description, I do not make a single penny off of any of them. You should know that I'm just a regular guy who loves the outdoors. And I have tested plenty of lanterns. So I'm basically a lantern expert. I love using lanterns as a way to light up my campsite, whether I'm in a tent, I'm backpacking, or I'm in my car. However, not all camping situations are alike. So, before you spend some of your hard-earned cash on a high-end lantern, you should watch this video in its entirety to decide which one will work best for you. We're going to examine some of these lanterns, and at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you if I could only get one, which one I would recommend. So let's start with backpacking. When you're outdoors and you're backpacking over a long distance, there's two things you got to keep in mind. Number one is the weight. You don't want to carry a lot of weight over a long distance, but also you have to keep in mind the size, right? Because you're only carrying what can fit in your pack or on your pack. So for this reason, you have to decide what is most important to you. Now, it may surprise you, but when I go backpacking, my go-to lantern is actually an inexpensive headlamp. But this headlamp has a custom lantern case. The Petzl headlamp has 300 lumens when on full blast and is only $25. It runs off of 3 AAA batteries and it will last on its highest setting for up to 3 hours. What I love about it the most is actually the case. The case is called a Noctilite that makes the headlamp basically become a lantern. Simply fold the headlamp into the lantern case and the case will diffuse the lighting to help it flood the light instead of creating a beam of light. The case is sold separately, so keep that in mind. But it's super lightweight and super versatile. It has a loop so you can actually hook it onto a carabiner and then hook it onto your pack so it doesn't take up space on the inside of your pack. And it has a bungee cord attached to the case so you can attach it to a limb or inside your tent, basically wherever you want. Now let's talk about car camping. I have an SUV, so I've been known to take my SUV out into the national forest, lay down the seats, and actually have a way to sleep while I'm outdoors while in my car. If you have an SUV and you've never tried it before, you gotta give it a shot. There's a few different reasons why I love sleeping in my car. Number one, let's be honest. It's more secure to sleep in your car than it is in a tent. Because you know if somebody or an animal wants to get to you, they're going to have to get into your car first. Another reason why I love it is because you don't hear anything. It's like a little cocoon. And I'm such a light sleeper that when something makes a noise in the middle of the night, I wake up. So I get some of my best sleep when I'm sleeping in my car. Depending on the weather, I may even crack my windows so that way I can hear a little bit of the cicadas or the crickets, or if I'm by a really good stream, I can hear the water rushing by. It's like the perfect way to sleep. For this situation, I typically go with the Goal Zero Lighthouse Mini. This little mini lighthouse is awesome. You can get up to 500 hours of light on a single charge. You heard me right. When I have it set to the lowest setting, I can get up to 500 hours of light. Depending on the amount of light you need, when it's fully lit, you can get up to 210 lumens and it lasts up to 4 hours. Typically, that's way more light than I will use in a single night. I love that it has directional lighting as well. So you can light up 180 degrees or you can light up a full 360 degrees. I simply hang it up on the hanger spot of my car and leave it for the night. But if I'm doing a little bit more outside, like I'm cooking or cleaning, then I can bring it out there and I can use it there too. One of the features of this Lighthouse Mini is that it has a magnet on the bottom of the lantern, and it actually has a 1/4-inch tripod thread on the bottom, so it fits my tripod perfectly when I'm filming. Something else that's super unique about this lantern is that it has a charging port on the front of the lantern. The charging port isn't going to deliver a huge charge, but if I'm going out for a quick one-nighter and I know I don't need the lantern for a second night, then I can plug my phone into the charging port and I can have enough juice for my phone for the next day. And in the event of emergency situation, if my phone goes dead, then I know I can charge my phone from the lantern and it will give me enough juice so I can make an emergency call. The next way that I go camping is camping with the family. Now, I absolutely love bringing my family with me in the great outdoors. But when I'm bringing my family, I don't pack for just myself. Now, typically when I'm going out with just myself, I'm more of a minimalist camping. But when I'm camping for the family, I'm not just camping for me or packing for me. I have to pack for the entire family. So there's a lot more that goes into the packing. I want them to have a great experience. And because I want them to have a great experience, that means I try to bring the comforts of home with me to the campsite. Lights are no different. When it gets dark outside, now I need to account that my entire family needs to see the campsite. So I want them to be safe. I don't want them tripping over sticks or stumps or stepping on a snake and ruining their camping experience. I want them to love it as much as I do. When I'm camping like this, I use a bigger and better lantern. The Goal Zero Lighthouse 600 is the perfect lantern for my family. I had one and it worked perfectly for over 6 years. I banged it, I hit it, I did a number on that lantern and it continued to work all the way up until I left it outside during a monsoon. Now, this wasn't a light rain, this wasn't a good rainstorm, this was a monsoon. It was a serious weather event that caused me and my family to abandon camp. And in a situation like that, it's rare. But when it does happen, the most important thing is obviously safety. It's not your gear. So I left my Goal Zero lantern out and it got pretty devastated. So I purchased a new one, and that should say something to you. When you repurchase an item, it must mean that you really enjoyed it. My friends, this Goal Zero Lighthouse 600 has a few different features that I really like. On 180 degrees, on the lowest setting, it will give you 320 hours of light. On both sides, a 360 degree light, it will light up for basically on the highest setting 2.5 hours. It also has a hand crank where 1 minute of cranking will supply you with 10 minutes of light. So even if you run out of power, you can have manual power in order to keep the lantern going. It comes complete with a 1.5 amp USB port, along with collapsible legs and a battery indicator light, so you have an idea of how much is left. It is a lantern and a power hub all in one. You made it to the end of the video, so let me tell you, if I had to just purchase one lantern that would go with me on all of my adventures, it would be the Goal Zero Lighthouse Mini. Although it doesn't give me everything I need to light a campsite for my family, it is definitely the most versatile option. With 210 lumens, it can help with the family being able to see, but at 8 ounces, it's also light enough that I can take it backpacking. At a price tag of $39.95, it's definitely the best bang for your buck. If you've tried other lanterns that you would recommend, please let me know in the comments below. I'm always open to try new gear. I would love to know what type of lighting devices you use when wandering outdoors. Thanks so much for tuning in to the channel. I hope you enjoyed the review.